My wife refused to spend her birthday with me and chose instead to have dinner with a coworker. When I told her I was considering filing for divorce, she thought I was just bluffing. We had been together for 14 years and married for 12. While our relationship wasn't perfect and we faced our share of challenges, there had never been any infidelity, at least none that I was aware of. I always believed we would handle our problems together. In September 2022, I was involved in a serious car accident with a garbage truck. Thankfully, I wasn't severely injured, but I've been struggling with severe back pain ever since. This pain has prevented me from working as an HVAC technician. I tried returning to work after 3 months, but my condition worsened, and my doctor took me off work while we sought a treatment plan. In May 2023, I had an emergency surgery for a ruptured appendix. I woke my wife to take me to the hospital, but she reacted with irritation and insisted on fixing her hair and makeup before we left. She also refused to drive, so I drove myself with her as a passenger. After the surgery, the hospital wanted to keep me overnight for observation due to an infection around my appendix. I asked my wife to stay with me and take a few days off to help, but she refused to do either. At the time, I was too focused on my health to dwell on her lack of support. In June, during a conversation, I jokingly said, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out," reflecting on the difficult situation we were in. She snapped at me, expressing that she felt trapped and stressed out. I acknowledged her feelings, understanding that my inability to work contributed to her stress. I had applied for financial assistance to cover our mortgage and utilities, so she was managing the bills. 2 weeks later, she informed me that she planned to spend the night with a work friend to talk about her feelings, and I encouraged her, hoping it would help us work through our issues. She then mentioned she was supposed to have dinner on her birthday with a coworker, which she refused to spend with me. I later discovered that the coworker was actually a man. We had a heated argument, and I went to my mother's house to cool off and think things through. After a few hours, I went to a friend's house for some space. When my wife saw this, she accused me of giving up on the marriage. We argued further, but after a few days, I decided that 14 years was too significant to end over this issue alone. We agreed to try to work on our relationship for at least 6 months before making any decisions. However, just 4 weeks later, I discovered she had been searching for apartments. She then proposed that having her own space could potentially save our marriage. I expressed my confusion about how a year-long lease would help and questioned how she expected me to manage the bills while I was unable to work. I told her that if she moved out, I would file for divorce. She found an apartment she liked, applied for it, and was approved. When she was approved for the apartment, she proceeded with a move, leaving me to handle the financial responsibilities on my own despite my earlier warnings. She seemed determined to go through with her plans. As she settled into her new place, I was left grappling with the practical and emotional fallout of our situation. Her departure brought a mix of relief and distress. On one hand, it was a chance to reflect on our relationship without the constant strain of our daily interactions. On the other hand, the financial burden and the reality of living alone after so many years of marriage weighed heavily on me. In the months following her move, we continued to communicate sporadically. Our conversations were often tense, marked by unresolved issues and unspoken resentments. While I tried to adjust to my new circumstances, both emotionally and financially, I was also trying to navigate the complexities of a potential divorce. The process of separating our lives was complicated by the fact that I was still struggling with my health issues and unable to work. This made it difficult to manage the logistical aspects of our split, such as dividing assets and settling financial obligations. I also had to confront the reality of living without the partner who had been a significant part of my life for over a decade. Throughout this period, I focused on seeking treatment for my back pain and trying to regain some stability in my life. I also continued to process the emotional impact of the separation, dealing with feelings of betrayal and sadness. Ultimately, the decision to divorce was influenced by the realization that our relationship had fundamentally changed, and that we were no longer able to support each other in the way we once had. The unresolved issues and her decision to move out made it clear that continuing the marriage would be challenging and potentially detrimental to both of us. As I moved forward, I focused on rebuilding my life, prioritizing my health, and coming to terms with the end of a significant chapter in my personal history. I wasn't prepared for the situation to escalate, and it took about 2 weeks for things to unfold. During this period, I did something I'm not proud of. I felt increasingly uneasy about the situation and had suspicions that she was hiding something about her reasons for wanting to move out. As a result, I decided to go through her watch while she was at work. What I discovered was that she had been communicating with another man for around 4 to 5 months. One of the messages I found was from her to him, expressing her desire to meet up and asking when and where they could hook up. When I confronted her about this, she dismissed it as a joke. However, when I told her how hurtful and messed up her actions were, she responded by saying that because I wasn't being intimate with her, she had to seek satisfaction elsewhere. For the past several months, she had been rejecting my attempts to be intimate. In August 2023, she moved into her own apartment. 2 weeks later, I informed her that I was filing for divorce. Initially, she thought I was bluffing, but given that we didn't have any children, the divorce process was relatively quick and was finalized by December 2023. There were many instances of gaslighting and other troubling behaviors during this time. I wanted to share my story to emphasize that if you're being mistreated or taken advantage of in a relationship, it's crucial to have the courage to leave. No one deserves to be disrespected or mistreated. In the 2 weeks before she moved out, we had numerous arguments, and she often referred to me as a broken person due to my injuries and pain. Despite everything, I helped her move out because she had no one else to rely on, and I thought it might provide me with some sense of closure. In the following months, we spent time dealing with paperwork for the divorce. The agreement was that she would keep her possessions and I would keep mine. In October 2023, she was involved in a car accident that totaled her vehicle. Although she appeared to be fine and didn't go to the hospital, she asked to borrow my car for work. I declined and also refused to give her rides to work due to conflicting schedules with my physical therapy and doctor visits. She dismissed my concerns, which led to an argument where I told her she was no longer my problem. After this, communication between us diminished significantly, and we only spoke sporadically, primarily about updating her address. I now return her mail to the sender, as there's nothing left to discuss. Regarding my well-being, I've been slowly improving physically. I recently underwent a procedure to numb the nerves in my lower back to help manage the pain, which I hope will allow me to return to more normal activities. As the new year began, I decided to start dating again and get out of the house, hoping to explore new relationships and experiences.